The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted to see so many people here this evening. I really want to say have a very, very, very happy Halloween. I just love this time of year, and I am so grateful that so many of you have been able to join me this evening. We're going to have a bundle of fun. This has just been such a very special time period. We had a full moon just a couple of days ago, which was pretty intense. And at the same time that we had that full moon, we had some really major aspects going on astrologically that connected directly to the planet Uranus and the moon touching each other when it was full. And, people have been a little bit crazy. And in some cases, that's really good. And in other cases, it's been pretty bad, as we know from some of the things that you're seeing in the news. So one of the things that I want to do as we get our psychic hour started this evening is to just send a lot of healing and love to all of the victims of the synagogue shooting and all the other issues that have been going on in our society, and to send a really dear thought and hope for peace and unity throughout not just our nation, but the whole world. We're about to move into the month of November. We're getting close to the end of October here. And if you read my editorial blog for November, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. Let's really make this November a time for gratitude. And that's one of the big things we're going to be doing this evening. As I answer each one of your questions, I'm going to be asking you to think about what you are most grateful for right now at this moment in your life. So think about that while I tell you about some of the things that I've got coming up and some of the things I've got going on right now. First of all, let me get my own picture out of the way here so you can see my chart, or at least so I can see my chart. If you go to my website now, and I've got the website address right here, www.sandyanastasi.com, you are going to see an all new website. Yay! Folks, we have been really struggling with getting our website redone now for almost 2 years. And I do want to give this really fabulous pat on the back to my lovely, wonderful IT person, who's also a fabulous psychic and wonderful podcaster. You'll see some of her ads on my site. Her name is Kayla Ambrose. Because Kayla managed to create the beautiful site that you will now see when you go to this link in about 6 weeks. The web team that had been working on it prior to that took about 18 months and didn't come anywhere near the finish line. So we have a beautiful new website. I'm so excited to share it with you. Just a little inside information here. All the way back in the early 1980s, my guides showed me people studying my classes all over the planet in little groups in front of their TVs. And I was always knowing it was going to happen, but did not recognize the possibility for it until all the new technology that we have today came into being. And I now have a state-of-the-art website that does exactly that. So I really, really want you, when you're done listening and enjoying tonight's seminar, please go to my website, www.sandyanastasi.com, and have a lot of fun browsing it and looking at what's there. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but that's the first thing I want you to know about. The website is done. Now, it is a work in progress. I'm always going to be adding things to it, but it's usable, it's workable, and it's lovely right now just as it is. And I also want to thank my wonderful assistant who's right here in the chat room with you, Lisa, because Lisa is my editor in addition to being my wonderful assistant in just about everything else I do here online and in my work. And Lisa has also done just amazing feats to be able to help to bring this website to you. So thank you, Lisa. Okay, folks, some announcements. The first thing I would love for you to do is please add to your calendar right now the next psychic hour is going to be on November 18th. And you can sign up for that right there on GoToMeeting. So as soon as you get off here, sign up for that one so that you know you're going to be able to get here again. The second announcement I want to make, folks, as always, I receive some emails from you before the psychic hour begins with some of your questions. And I want you to know I don't even open them. Now, there's a reason for that. It's not because I don't love you. It's because if I allow myself and my guides to connect into you specifically before I've even started the class, the psychic hour doesn't work properly. So that's a good thing to do if you and I are having a reading, a private one, one-on-one. It's not good for this type of a seminar. But what I do is if you send me a question, and I haven't had a chance to call on you during this seminar tonight, if you send me your short question immediately following our seminar this evening, within it's got to be within the next 24 hours before 9 o'clock tomorrow night that I receive your question. And I promise you, within the next week or so, I will answer that question for you. I'm really good at getting back to folks, I promise you. But please don't send me your questions before the hour. Like I said, I'm not even going to open them because if I do, the energy isn't going to be channeling for everybody here. You will have grabbed that energy. And I know you really don't intend to do that. Okay, so the real important message there is if you don't get called on this evening, send me your question within the next 24 hours until 9 p.m. tomorrow night, and I will answer it, I promise. Now, one more thing, which is a really important thing. I'm going to list a few of these things. A lot of you are aware that back in September, I launched my tarot educational program, levels 1, part 1, and part 2, which takes you from rote beginner level all the way up to advanced level tarot. And I gave people a tremendous discount on that. The whole thing was 50% off. It was just amazing. And if you were already a tarot student of mine, if you had already taken the tarot with me, you would have gotten those 2 classes essentially for free. I want to remind you, because if there's anyone here on tonight's webinar or who even listens to it afterwards, if you studied the tarot with me in person or via my recordings anytime over the last 30 years, I'm going to gift you with that program. You've only just got to pay a very minor download fee to get that. So if you've already taken the program, please contact Lisa, and she will arrange for you to get your essentially free copy of Tarot Part 1 and Tarot Part 2. And for the rest of you who are listening, I do want to tell you that even though it's no longer discounted, if you want to learn the tarot, honest to God, there is no better place on the planet to learn the tarot right now than through that program. So I highly recommend it, and I hope you'll go and check it out. Now, for this October, and you've got a few days left. Remember, Halloween is the 31st, so we're the 28th. You've got a couple of days to get that in there. For the month of October, I have been running a special on my psychic protection tips. Now, this is really interesting because if you sign up for that program, and it's very inexpensive. It's Lisa can tell you in the chat room, but I think it's something like $49. It's very inexpensive. And if you get that program, every week for the next year, you're going to get a new psychic protection tip that comes to your smartphone or your other electronic device. Now, those are the same psychic protection tips that some of you have been watching on YouTube. What makes them so special is that they come right to your device. You will have them on your device forever. They don't go away. You have your own private library with me. And they're organized, okay? They're organized according to exactly what type, and you'll First, you'll work on one certain area and develop your protection and have a whole week to practice it. And it's also got little anecdotes and extra things from me along the way. Now, if you get that program anytime before the end of the month, that's the 31st, I'm going to gift you with the opportunity to purchase the Dark Forces webinar, which is this, a lot of you already know, it's an amazing webinar. It's a 1 hour long webinar that really talks about the balances of good and evil in our world right now. And you can get that webinar for just $10 if you purchase that class before the end of the month. Now, here's a preview. In November, I am launching a webinar series. It will contain that Dark Forces webinar, but it's also going to contain all of my other 1 hour webinars that end in guided meditations, guided visualizations. People have told me that those guided visualizations take them out of the body, they take them to other planes, they help them to totally change their habit patterns regarding the issue we're talking about. Those webinars cover just about every area of metaphysics. So if you're a beginner, oh, what a wonderful, wonderful way to introduce yourself to everything in metaphysics and get a feel for what it's all about. If you've been in the metaphysical field and you've been studying astrology and your spiritual journey and the Kabbalah and numerology and everything else you can possibly imagine for a long time, it's still of value to you because the focus of everything I do is raising your consciousness. That's why that webinar series is called the Evolution of Consciousness series. Now, here's the special kicker. When you purchase that series, you will get my Magical Philosophy MP3. It's an audio for free with it. Folks, I haven't released that for over 20 years, deliberately, because it's about real magic. So if you want to learn it, that's where you'll find it. And I'm going to give you another little glimpse into the future here. Between now, if you're browsing my website, you'll see that I now have a membership area. Well, between now and December, I'm officially launching that in December, but you're getting a close-up here. Between now and the end of December, the cost for that is $10 per month or $97 a year. But in January, that cost is going to double. Now, you might say, why would I want to join Sandy's membership site? Folks, every single class that I did live and was taped on audio for 38 years, and most of the classes that I did with my partner, John Mayers, are contained on that membership site. So if you go in there and join it for that tiny little bit amount of money, you will be taking classes probably for the next 5 years, and they are still state-of-the-art, extremely important classes. That material that's in there is still of great, great value. So I've made it available to you because it's so important. And of course, the entire magic series that I taught on Long Island back in the 1980s and have many, many students that graduated up there in New York that studied it. That entire series is in the membership site on my website. So I hope you will take a look at that. So you've got homework to do following this webinar. And if I sound excited, well, I am. And please, while you're on there, don't forget to check out my cruise that's coming up in April. If you want to rub shoulders with bunches of psychics, there are so far almost 40 people who are registered for that cruise. It's so much fun. I hope you will join us there. Register as soon as you can because you don't want the ship to fill up. Okay? No discounts on that because the cruise line sets the price. But we have lots of fun. And I actually take you on land and we do a ritual and we do a tour together. And we have Sandy doing a messages session live for everyone if they choose to buy that. There's so much going on. There's a psychic fair on the ship. At any rate, you can read about that on my website. And more, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not boring you. but my psychic development class is beginning in January, and it is live here online with me in person. And you can ask Lisa in the chat room what the date is that it starts on. I'm sorry, I didn't have the date on at my fingertips, so I can't tell you what that is, but Lisa can get that for you. If you sign up early for that, you get discounts, and Lisa can even tell you what those discounts are. And one last thing, and Lisa doesn't know about this, only you do. Folks, if you're here live with me tonight, wow, I'm giving you 10% off any one of my readings if you sign up for that reading in the next week. That means until November 4th. So, Lisa, I hope you're listening. Anyone who contacts you between now and November 4th who was on this psychic hour with us gets 10% off their reading. But they've got to tell you that they were live, and you've got to check that they were actually here. Yes, this is getting fun. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. If you join my membership site, we are also going to be doing live sessions with Sandy like this one, only you're going to be asking me questions on whatever you want relative to what you're studying on the site. So yeah, there's a little live guidance there, and there's a Facebook group, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on and on. I'm excited. So let's jump in and do some reading, shall we? I think it's time. Lisa's going to call on you when you put your hand up. And what I would like to know from you is your name. Your first name is fine. Where you're calling from. We always like to know that because my attendees on these webinars come from all over the world, so it's nice to know where you're from. I would like to know what you're most grateful for in your life right now, your sun sign, so we can identify some things about you right here in this horary chart you see on the screen, and then your question. So your name, your place where you're living, what you're grateful for, your sun sign, that means when you were born, and then your question. Okay? And please, even if you're not having your own question answered, folks, listen to other people's answers, because my guides have a way of answering your question at the same time they're answering somebody else's. Lisa, who's our first victim? By the way, happy Halloween. Tonight's the night we're going to make it happen.
All right, the first person tonight is going to be Michelle. I think you're unmuted.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm calling from Florida. I am from New York. I'm Capricorn. I'm born in January. I'm most grateful to Lisa Garcia, who is our late friend, who was teaching my young, gifted 9-year-old daughter. My question is she going to be okay? Because Lisa just started teaching her, and we have a lot of evil forces around her, and without Lisa, we're kind of lost.
Okay. The first thing that I'm going to do, oh, Lisa, you're going to want to kick me in the shin. Okay? You may not be aware, and I'm aware that you're local to me. You're in the Port Charlotte area, which is where I live. And you folks may not be aware, but right here online in the chat room is one of the best psychic mediums on the planet. She just doesn't push herself. And she has an amazing ability to counsel and coach. And guess what? I'm going to suggest that if you are, and by the way, she also happens to have a college degree in child psychology. So that probably the reason that you called in for tonight's psychic hour was not just to find out all these wonderful things that we're going to find out about Lisa Garcia, who, lovely, lovely lady, one of my good friends, long-term friend, and a teacher of the Anastasi system also passed within the last week. And what a wonderful time, because you know she's going to be here coming through and helping. She's just that kind of a being, wonderful and beautiful. But you were probably directed to come here because it's probably the only way that you really would have been able to recognize that my assistant, Lisa, who's here in the chat room, is a really, maybe not the same teacher as Lisa Garcia, but certainly can answer your daughter's counseling needs and issues that are coming up, and really is also certified to teach the system. And I could go on and on, but I'll let Lisa do that herself. Okay? So I would love for you to contact her directly, and you can get her at lisasainc@aol.com, and she'll direct you on how to handle things from there. So no, you are not cast adrift, and neither is your daughter. And I'm going to suggest also that you do take the classes with me that start in January. Okay? And when I'm teaching a young person, I do want their parent there with them, because you need to learn right alongside her for obvious reasons, because as her questions come up, you're the one who is going to be her primary first everyday teacher. Is that all making sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just worried. Because there's a man, and he's a shapeshifter and a soul collector, and he follows her everywhere. And she just, since Lisa's gone, he's just been more antagonizing to her, because Lisa helped us keep him at bay. And she's just very scared. We're very scared for her, because she's only 9, and she doesn't know how to handle him all the time.
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask you some questions here. You think you're talking about a non-physical being when you say there's this man who's a shapeshifter who follows her. My guys are telling you this man isn't just non-physical, he's also physical. Ah. So who is he? He's someone in her life. Okay? I think Lisa also tried to tell you the same thing when she was with you, when she was alive. I also want to tell you, and I'm hearing this from Lisa, she's not gone. And she is, tell this to your daughter, please, she is protecting her from the other side. Okay? She's there.
Okay.
And your daughter needs to recognize that and own it and honor it. But in the meantime, ask your daughter who it's a family member or a friend who's a close enough person to the family that she would feel like he was a family member. Who is this person who's been in her life off and on over many years that she avoids, that she just doesn't want to be around? That's her response. I don't want to be near you. That is the person who is the shapeshifter on the other side.
So, someone that's passed on that was in her life?
No, this is someone who is alive. Ah, okay. Someone who is alive.
Okay.
And I think the thing that's been stumping both of you is how come you can't seem to get rid of this person using all of the techniques that Lisa taught you, which should have cleared the house, which should have chased the bad spirit away, which should have closed the doors. You see that? The problem is that every time you cast that individual on the other side out, you reconnected with the physical person who is unconsciously, not consciously aware, but unconsciously doing all these things from the other side. It's not a dead person, is what I'm telling you. It's someone who's alive.
Okay.
Okay? Let me give you a scenario that happened in my own life, and you'll get a better understanding of it, because my guides keep showing
Okay.
about you. Tell her about you. When I was a young child, I would wake up in bed, staring straight ahead, screaming, and it would take my parents a good 15 or 20 minutes to get me to wake up, smacking me, grabbing me, trying to make me wake up from the dream, even though I had my eyes open and I would just be laying there screaming. Well, years and years and years later, I completely blocked out those dreams. After a while, I didn't dream. It wasn't until I was about 30 years old that I had the first dream I could remember in more than 20 years. And the reason I had that dream is because my girlfriend, who did regressions, took me back, and she said, Sandy, I'm going to take you back and we're going to see what was going on in that dream. And I said, I really don't want to. Well, she did. And in the dream, there was this dark man, shadow man, who was chasing me, chasing me, chasing me. And I knew that at some point in the distant past he had been a playmate, but somehow he turned bad. And he was chasing me, and I couldn't get away from him. And the only way I could get away from him was by running into this black hole, which totally shut everything off. And of course, when I went into the black hole, the dreams disappeared, but so did all the psychic ability. Well, my girlfriend said to me, don't go into that hole. Turn around and look at him. And I did. And she said, who is he? And he was my mother. Wow. Wasn't even a man. He was my mother.
Wow.
And so my mother had been my astral friend when I was a child. And somewhere along the line, as I grew older, she became the person in my life who was totally trying to squash me on every level, including my psychic ability. Okay? Now, my guides are asking me to tell you that story because that's what's going on with your daughter. And I'm sure that as I'm talking, Lisa in the chat room is filling in the blanks and getting tons of more information and material on this. Okay? But she's going to be a great help. And your daughter really does need to combat this and no longer feed into the bully. And this is a bully that's on both sides of the veil. Okay? She needs to no longer have the bully power in her life because she's very psychic, she's very gifted. And now this information is coming through both from Lisa, but also from one of my own higher guides who says she has something very important to do in life, and it does involve working with her psychic ability.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you. I know that question is going to a lot of other people on this call. That's an area I've never told anybody else about, except perhaps my assistant. So
thank you.
You hit the right button, and I think it's going to help many. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Give your daughter a big hug from Lisa. And I don't know why she's showing me white icing, but she's showing me white icing, the hard icing, and she's showing me 3 candles. And I don't know why 3. White icing and 3 candles. That's a message for your daughter. And
that's because her birthday.
Okay, and it's on a birthday cake. Yeah, right, exactly.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Lisa, and that was a really great start for a Halloween psychic hour. So, who is our next caller, please? And while you're looking for our next caller, I'm looking for my mouse, so that which I hid somewhere on my desk. But I wanted to show you folks. Oh well. Oh, here it is. Okay, I wanted to show you folks. Our caller just now is a Capricorn. Okay, and here's Saturn, which is restriction, learning, teaching, and she's talking about the restrictions, the burdens that she's carrying and her daughter's carrying. But also we talked about our good friend Lisa Garcia, who recently passed, and the 8th house, this house here I'm showing you with the cursor, is the house of death, and Pluto is the planet of death. So how interesting that came up, but also how interesting that you're talking about perhaps at some point for yourself and or your daughter making a career out of your psychic work with Capricorn on the 8th house. That is very powerfully possible. So I hope all of you Capricorns are listening to that who are on this call right now. Okay, Lisa, who's next?
Okay, our next caller is going to be Sheree. Sheree, it says you're self-muted. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Hi there. My name's Sheree. How are you?
I'm good. And how are you this evening?
Love the costume.
Thank you.
I'm Sheree. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and my sign is Aries. And I'm most grateful for my healthy family. My girlfriend just lost her son, so that's been really hard. So I'm grateful that my family is healthy and happy right now.
Yeah, I'm grateful along with you. And I hope that the best thing you can do for someone who's lost a child at any age is to be there for her.
Yeah, trying hard. It's been hard to do that, but I am trying hard.
On my Facebook, I did post a podcast that was done by my good friend and IT person, Kayla Ambrose. If you can't find that, Lisa can give you the address where you can go and listen to that podcast. It's about grief. Your girlfriend may very well benefit from it, and you
Well,
should listen to it because it'll help you to be able to deal with her. Okay?
thanks. I appreciate that.
Likewise, Jennifer, same thing with you and your daughter. You should both listen to that podcast. It's fabulous. Okay? And it was perfectly timely. It just came out last week, and our good friend Lisa Garcia died last week. So it hit me right here. It was just
What's the name of the podcast again?
Lisa. Can you come on and say what the name of that podcast is?
I have no clue.
I know it's by Kayla Ambrose.
Sandy, I will find it later. And when I
Okay.
send everybody out this video from tonight, I will send that name along with it.
Thank you.
Perfect. That's perfect. Okay. I want to just talk a little bit about this. Here we are talking about your friend. Well, Aries is on the house of friends in this chart. Isn't that interesting? And Uranus, planet of change, still retrograde, getting ready to go back into Aries. Look at that. It's a 0 going back into Aries, backwards, retrograde. You guys are, right now kind of getting clobbered by things coming from friends. And if you have children, the third child especially, you've been getting just clobbered by these issues that are things from the past coming back that you need to deal with. That planet's got about another month before it turns direct. So please don't get so excited and say, I'm going to turn in my badge because you've been dealing with this planet for 7 years and you're really at the tail end. This is just last licks. You're really done. Okay. So hang on. And here it is opposing Sun in Scorpio, Venus in Scorpio. So guess what? If you are a Scorpio, a Taurus, an Aries, a Libra, there is a whole lot of death around you right now. If you're a Capricorn, it's squaring that, a lot of death. If you're Cancer, it's squaring that. Squares a hard aspect, a lot of death. So folks, what's dying in your lives? Is it people? Is it ways of life? Is it attitudes? Is it dreams? The thing is, it's time to let go of a lot of things that aren't needed and move on into the future. And relative to the people you're losing, try to see it in terms of they're graduating. They are going to the place that is going to be the best place for them. And you've got to be able to move forward. Okay? And I don't mean leave them behind. I mean transmute that experience. Okay? Aries, sorry about Aries. My Aries friend, what is your question?
I feel like I have such a purpose in life, and I just feel lost trying to find out what it is. Like, I'm so tired of doing the daily grind because I feel restless all the time. Like, I have something I need to teach or I need to help, or what is it that's holding me back? Like, what am I afraid of?
That's a really good question. And I think I know what it is, at least right now. Moon is in Cancer, follow my cursor, squaring your Aries sun, squaring all these planets in Capricorn over here. And so right here, see that T square? It's a T. I'm making it with my cursor. Comes out into the 5th house, which is romance, kids, your relationship, the sign Libra. So you are fearful of chucking the day-to-day grind and going out and doing what you love to do because you're afraid that if enough money doesn't come in, if you don't do your share, well, more than your share half the time, that you won't be able to take care of the kids, that your lover husband is going to leave you, that you're not going to be able to have friends, that you're not supporting your half of the relationship. Um, this is where you're stalling. You really do know what you want to do, but you can't get down to it because you're afraid that what you want to do isn't going to pay the bills and is going to let all these other people down. Does that make sense to you?
Yep, absolutely.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, and this is one of my fortes because I counsel people all the time who have these same issues. What I'm going to ask you to do is to really write down that particular thing you want to do and forget for a moment. Just forget about all these other people. Okay? Forget about, the 9 to 5 grind. Forget about the money that's needed. Just write the thing down that you want to do and you want to be. Okay?
Okay.
And again, keeping all these other people and things out, like, just they make believe they don't even exist at this point in time. And after you write this thing down that you want to do, that you want to be, that you want to become, then make the list of all the different things that you will need to do within yourself. Just you. Nobody else, just you. To be able to get yourself to that point to do them. Do you need to get a degree? Do you need to go back to school? Do you need to study some classes? Do you need to just, take more time to put into that particular avenue? Do you need to create a connection to a partner to be able to make that thing happen? Make a list of all the things that would be required for you to attain that goal. Okay?
Yep.
And then look at each one of those things, third step, and see how you can make that thing happen that's going to lead to your long-term goal. Do you see how we just did that? We worked it backwards. And all of a sudden, you're going to find that it's really not your lover or your husband or your kids or your need to have the 9 to 5. It's none of those things that are in your way. What's really in your way is yourself and your fear that you can't make all that happen. What do you think of this?
Thank you.
Okay, and what's interesting, if you do that work around that work backwards, like I said, by the time you're done, you are going to realize that it is fully within your capability to achieve that goal if you want to. Okay?
100% right. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. And thanks for asking that question, because once again, that's a question that gave an answer that is going to help a whole lot of people who are on this call and who listen to this webinar even after the fact. Thank you. And Lisa, who's our next caller? Who's got our next question?
All right. Next person we're calling on tonight is Sasha. Sasha, you are unmuted.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, Lisa. Thank you. I'm calling from Fairfield, Connecticut. And right now, I'm always live in huge appreciation for my family. But just lately, I've been really appreciating the growing communication that I'm having with my angels and my guides and the bridge, just the bigger bridge I'm building, with God and source and just how fulfilling that is. So I was, sorry?
What's your sun sign?
Aries.
Another Aries. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so I was certified, or I got my attunement in Reiki in the winter. And from that, have started experiencing very specific, very detailed, I guess it's mediumship messages that are coming through. And they're coming through for people that I know and for people that I've never met before, but I know are connected with other people that I know. And I'm learning and studying and all of that, but I guess I'm kind of wondering, what is my purpose with this? How do I help? And how do I make this a purposeful thing in my life?
Okay.
What do my guides have?
Yep. Well, obviously, this is an area that you're both a healer and a psychic, and you're really enjoying the combination of both. What's interesting is that Reiki. I'm saying this for most of our other listeners, so you can understand this. My friends, Reiki is it's using the hands to channel energy when you're working on a person who's lying on your table or sitting in a chair, and it does not involve you connecting to that person psychically. It involves the energy coming through you from the universal source and generating to whatever the person is going to be needing to be able to heal whatever's going on with them, or at the very least rebalance their energy. So Reiki itself doesn't have to be psychic. People who do it aren't psychics. Okay? I want to make that very clear, because the way you stated it, it's like, okay, well, I do Reiki, so now I'm psychic. It doesn't work that way. Okay? Most Reiki practitioners aren't psychics, will never be psychics. They work with that universal energy, healing life force energy, to bring health and healing to the people they're working with. Now, in your case, because you are already a natural psychic and your psychic abilities are probably pretty close to the surface, when you opened that channel to bring the energy in to do Reiki, along with the life force energy came a stronger connection to your guides, your clients' guides. And so when you're working on them, and you're not just saying, I want to send energy to this person, which is normally what Reiki is all about. You're also saying, well, why is this person sick? What's going on that's making them sick? And in your mind asking those questions, you're getting these answers from your guides, from your clients' guides. And that is definitely the first step in mediumship. You're making a connection to your clients' guides. And it's a very tiny step after you're talking to someone's guides to be able to speak to the dead people around them. And my friend, as soon as you do that, you're no longer a Reiki practitioner, you're a psychic. Do you see that? You see where the difference is? Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now, when you cross the bridge into being the psychic, it's a dangerous bridge. You see, as long as you're just doing Reiki, that universal flow of energy coming through your crown and shooting out through your hands, and the energy, if clairvoyantly, I see the energy around a Reiki practitioner. It almost looks like they're like the sun. And there's so much energy there that the energy itself is its own protection that's being generated into the person. And there is no, I call it a flush back from the person into you, because all you're really doing is allowing yourself to be a conduit for the flow of energy. But as soon as you begin to ask those questions, well, why does this person have this illness? What can they do to change their life, to change this illness? As soon as you start to do that, now there is a flush back. Empathically, you're starting to read the energy of the person through your hands, but you're also asking these questions that your guides and their guides are now starting to give you answers to. So you see, it's no longer just a straight Reiki session. Now it's crossed that line into minimally psychism, feeling the aura and reading it through your empathy. But it also can move into channeling and mediumship. And all three of those things require protection. Okay? Now, wherever you learn Reiki, they probably never bothered to mention protection, because the healing energy of Reiki doesn't require protection. But psychics require protection. Does that make a difference to you? Do you understand?
It does. You know, I came to you through John Edward, the Inner Quest, or Infinite Quest book.
Oh, God, so long ago. It's nice to see you here.
I practice his protection prayer several times throughout the day. I teach it to my family. My kids use it now. The thing with me is that I don't work on clients. I work on a couple of friends, and I did it just because I just felt a calling for it. I'm not receiving this information when I'm doing any Reiki session. I'm getting this about friends, children on the other side of the world that I've never met before in the middle of the night. And then
now, is this after you have worked on the person, or when you're getting ready to work on the person?
No, this is not doing Reiki at all. The reason I mentioned Reiki was because that's when I noticed all of this starting to happen after the Reiki.
Okay. Yeah.
But it has nothing, it's not connected to Reiki.
Right, right. And so you want to know what to do about it. And
right.
what I've got to do, this is my guide saying, well, what does she want to do about it? Don't you love it? They're throwing it right back at you. They're saying, it's you obviously have, when you opened your channel to do Reiki, you also open your channel as a psychic. The two things in some people are one and the same. And apparently for you it is. And so now you're getting this great information. Do you want to use it to write books? Do you want to write it down and send it to these people? Do you want to contact their relatives and see if they want a reading? Or do you want to just let it pass through your mind and say, okay, I can't do anything about that. That belongs to somebody else. If you bring me information that belongs to somebody that I can actually do something about, well, then maybe we'll talk. Do you want to grow up to be a professional psychic or even to just do psychic readings for your family and friends? Then you might sit down with them and try to produce the same result intentionally. My first and biggest suggestion is that if you're planning on using this, get training. And of course, I'm going to suggest that you get the training with me. And you're right on time because the class begins in January. Okay? And why get the training? Because what I'm going to be able to teach you to do is to tap in much deeper and stronger and quicker, but also to shut off what you don't want. So instead of getting information on somebody who's over in Tokyo that you've never met and don't want to meet and can't connect with, in fact, instead of getting information on your husband who honestly doesn't want you in his head, okay, you will specifically only get those information when you turn it on.
That's what I was struggling with. Because it comes at night, in the middle of the night, and then I feel like the message, it's like the first half of the message comes, and I know who it's for, and I say to my friend, I got this message, it's for you, but does any of this make any sense to you? And then she'll say, yes, that's my friend's son who just took an internship in Paris and works at a bank with the root coin counter that you said. And then the second half of the message will come through the following night.
Yep, and that's wonderful. And if you only want to do that much with it, that's fine. Okay? And I would definitely protect myself before I go to bed each night. Long ago, I ran into a woman. I was at a gem and mineral show, and she came up to me and said, are you Sandy Anastasi? And I said, yeah. And she said, I have some automatic writing for you. Would you meet me in a parking lot tomorrow and I'll deliver it to you? And I'm like, huh? I never met this woman before. She did not know who I was until someone pointed me out. And the channeled information she got for me, it was channeled on my birthday, and it was information that was pertinent to what was going on in my life at that point. And here was this lady who wasn't getting paid for anything. She wasn't a professional. She was a housewife. And she sat down and protected herself and did her automatic writing every night at 5. And then she went and she hoped to find the people that she was getting these writings for. And that's the kind of thing that you are talking about doing right now. And if you can do that and if it brings you joy, well, that's good too. So I think at the root of your question is, what do you want to do with it? You see? Do you want to investigate it? Do you want to understand more about it? Do you want to write a book about it? You're capable of doing that. Do you want to continue to use it for the close family and friends who have things going on around them where you're tapping in at night? Or do you want to become, more adept at it where you can turn it on and off and work with people who are total strangers, in which case it's even more important to protect. See, right now your guides are bringing this information to you. So it's reasonably safe because you're not going out and seeking it. But as a psychic, when we seek it, we open that door, and so we really need to be protected. Okay. Does that make sense to you?
Yes. And I feel like I'm doing that. I have your developmental book, 1. And I've only been working through the first chapter with the aptitude test.
And I'm going to just show you something here. As an Aries, 0 Aries is here on this cusp. Okay, you will have lots of friends who help you to work with what you're working with. Here's Neptune in Pisces. It's heading in this direction. Okay. It's at 13 degrees. Neptune is the planet that opened your psychic senses. Uranus is the other planet that opened your psychic senses. You've had Uranus going through your sun sign for 7 years, and life has been crazy, and you have been basically broken apart from everything you thought you wanted to do. And it's like, let's try a new way of doing everything, right? That's what's
absolutely true.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what's been going on for the last 7 years. Well, Neptune has got about another 7 years of going through Pisces. So once Uranus moves out, you'll get 7 years of relative quiet. And then Neptune is going to come into this, your sun sign, and it's going to come in with this giant, shattering experience of opening up all of your psychic senses. So right now, you're just getting preparation for what's to come. And I figure I should give you some warning about that, so that you realize that what's happening now isn't something which is, well, this is here today and tomorrow it's going to be gone. You might even put it on a back burner for 6 or 7 years. It will come back, and when it comes back, it's going to come back much more intensely than it's ever been there before. I hope all the rest of you Aries, Libras, Capricorns, and Cancers will listen into that.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Lisa, who's our next caller?
Ready. Our next person is going to be Lorena. You are unmuted.
You can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Hi. Love your hat. My name is Lorena. I am an Aries. That's a coincidence that the last 3 people is being Aryans.
Only
we seem to be going through the same thing. What was that?
I said, Lisa only calls on Aries tonight. Blame it on her. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm from Pennsylvania near Hershey. What I'm enjoying the most now is the free time that I'm having since about a year ago. And it goes to my question, I used to be a realtor for the last 20 years, and out of the blue, I just lost the love for realtor. And everything started kind of happening overnight. Weird dreams, psychic dreams. I am sending souls to the light. It's just colors appearing on things. I'm seeing people's faces and it's colors. And I said, well, something is going on in here. I don't understand what's going on. So I went to several people. One lady first, she says, I need to ask your permission because your guys are telling me that you need to wake up. And I said, okay. Then another person and another person. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So my question to my guides is, what direction am I going for? Because one lady said to me, within the next 6 months, you're going to help people that are very confused about aliens. And all of my dreams the last 2 weeks has been aliens and aliens and aliens. And I'm not afraid, but it's just like, I'm confused. What direction they're taking me?
Well, again, I'm going to throw this back at you. How do you feel about this? Because I think the direction is very clear. Your psychic abilities are opening. You're moving more into being in touch and connection with your guides. And now you got that information from a psychic who told you people are going to be coming to you with questions and issues about aliens. And I bet you have the answers, don't you?
They're not afraid. I'm not afraid of them.
Right.
People make them to be the worst thing, but they're not.
And the thing is that when these people are coming to you with questions, you're having answers that just seem to pop out of your mouth. They make sense, and it's not about fear, and you're resolving their confusion, aren't you?
No one has come to me. Absolutely no one, but I see them in my dreams, and I enjoy the dreams with them.
Okay. I think as you start to talk more about it, I think you're going to start to get people who are coming to you and saying, well, what do you think about this? Or you're watching these shows, you're getting these dreams at night. What do you think about this? So I think you're going to be one of those people who gets more information. By the way, hear the static that's coming through on this call and hear the interesting whirring sound on this call. That's not an accident.
Yes.
There's energy at work here. So you're apparently...
Nothing is an accident.
Yeah, you're able to connect in on another level to maybe people who are not of this planet, who could be, aliens that we can see in the flesh, or maybe they're aliens that are in a non-physical realm. The thing is that I think you're going to be connecting in the not too distant future with people who say, what do you think about all this alien stuff? And that to me is not a surprise at all. We have a president who wants to create a space force. We have an increase in our space program in this country, and it's being duplicated all over the world. We are sending spacecraft out to the moon and out to Mars. Even Elon Musk is sending, I think, his own spaceship to Mars to do some mining or whatever he's doing. And on the news, I even had somebody say, well, what if aliens exist? You see? Now, if it's getting that close, even if they're not here right now, or whatever your belief system is, this is a subject. This is something people are interested in. And it's something people are afraid of because of all of the, War of the Worlds television shows that have been out there. And you're getting, through your dreams, a lot of information. Write them down. Write that information down because it's going to give you guidance in how to handle what's coming, not just into your own life, but into our world as a result of all these changes that are coming in.
Okay, I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that comes into me and it smells like cigarette and it drives me insane that I tell them to go away?
Well, and do tell them to go away. Now, what I'm going to say to you is who in your past, and it's a male energy, okay? Who in your past, I'm going to ask, do you have a deceased husband?
No.
Okay, so who is the guy who is deceased who might have been a husband or who was the husband of a girlfriend who smoked? So that's who it is. And if you
the only
don't,
one that has smoked a lot, it was my father.
Okay, because it's a male.
And he's here right now.
Right, and I would say if you don't want to smell the smoke, tell him, hey, Dad, you don't need to have the smoke. If you want, show me a coin or, touch my elbow, but I don't like the smoke. He's using the smoke as his significator so that you know that he's there.
Yeah, I know. I figured that out after so many months. I cannot even sleep.
But he's the one.
Some of the clairs are already opening up.
Now, why does your dad come? This is odd, but why does your dad come through more like a marriage partner? Was it because well, not my business, but he may have come into your life because you were dealing with some relationship issues. There's something about relationships around him, something about a marriage partner. Anyway, he comes in on that wave, and the cigarettes are him.
I think he's kind of trying to help me so my partnership with my current husband for 17 years doesn't fall apart. So I think that's what he's kind of poking me. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, and I also think that I'm going to be a little bit more. Can I get personal with you? We're on a public,
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I think that he really doesn't care if you stay with your guy or not, but I think he doesn't want you to leave right now because of finances. He would like to see you get yourself into a better financial situation before you blew things up. Your dad's looking out for you.
Oh, wow.
So don't take it
So some of the clairs are opening up.
Exactly. So you're going to find all kinds of opportunities that you can make money at that are going to give you the ability to really clear things up in your life. Okay? If you should want to do that. But as long as you're where you're at, keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Lisa, thank you. And Lisa, who's our next caller?
Alrighty, our next person is going to be Beth.
Hello, Beth.
And try again. There we go.
Hi.
Hello there.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I
I'm most grateful for my family. I live on Long Island. I'm a Libra, and it's funny what you were talking about earlier. It did kind of address my situation, but let me just explain a little bit more about my specific question quickly. I'm also a Reiki, I was, or still am, but I never really practiced on people, a Reiki practitioner. What happened was I just practiced on myself and family. That led into what I find is my path, which is psychic. I'm very connected to the crystals and the fairy cards. When I do a reading on people, I feel like a fairy energy, and I get information very quickly. So my question is, because I do it professionally, sometimes, if the client just doesn't seem that happy with the reading, I question myself, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Well,
And I don't, I think I'm reaching out to you as a mentor, like, how do you get past that? Because all of a sudden you get that ego little girl, like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, even though for me, the reading was, okay, but the client wasn't, thrilled.
boy, did you.
I don't know if I'd say thrilled, but I guess I didn't meet their expectation.
First of all, I've got to tell you that I address this issue that you're talking about in my psychic development classes. I address this issue in my tarot classes, in my numerology classes. You get the picture. My astrology classes. And I could write a book simply on this issue. Okay? And let me explain to you to begin with. And I know as a Libra, this is hard because people who are Libras want everybody to be happy all the time. And if somebody's not happy, you think it's because you didn't fluff their pillow enough, and so you bring them another one. It goes with being a Libra. And you're going to have to forget that you're a Libra when you do your readings. Okay? Pretend you're a Scorpio. And if they say, I don't like that, say, well, tough. Okay? And here's the reason why. First of all, when you allow the client's expectation to dictate your reading, you are no longer getting the information from your guides. You're now giving the client what they want to hear. And you make the client feel better, but that's not what they came to you and paid you for. You see? So you can only give your best reading when you're like a pane of glass, when nothing sticks to you, when you're in that Reiki channel that you learned, okay? That's when you give your best reading. And the instant your client presses that button that says you're not good enough. Did you hear that? Oh man, if you're a Libra, you can go through life saying, I'm afraid I'm not good enough. The other sign that really does that is Pisces. And of course, Scorpio does that a little too. And can we all do it? Sure, we all have those signs somewhere in our nature. So, when somebody says, oh, I don't think that's possible, what you should say to them is, well, no reader is 100% accurate, but I honestly can only give you what they're giving me, and I'm not going to make something up. So get some proof about it, or put it on a back burner and wait and see if it happens. Certainly don't ever make a life-changing decision based upon something any psychic tells you. Get proof, get tangible proof first, and just leave this in the back of your mind in case it's right. And no, I can't change it because it's what my guides gave me. Okay? In other words, stick to your guns. Okay? Admit the possibility you could be wrong, but still stick to your guns. Because nobody is 100% right. It's okay to be wrong, but stick to your guns. Do not feed the client what the client wants to hear. That's not being a psychic. That's fluffing pillows.
How do I know I'm on the right path? Like I said, I can't help but question it though. Like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, and then I'm like, no, yeah, I should. So it's like I'm almost arguing with myself.
Well, that's just normal insecurity. It really is.
Okay.
Everybody here, every single person on this call probably has at least 2 or 3 different things they could be doing in life. You know, every woman could be a mother. She could be a psychic. She could be a counselor. She could be a nurse. And this is something all women have the capability to do. So what is she going to choose? Is she going to choose to be the artist or the mathematician? We all have these choices in life. And guess what? Whether you're choosing to be a psychic or whether you're choosing to be a seamstress, it amounts to the same thing. Inside, you're asking yourself, am I good enough?
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that's your ego getting in your way. And whether you're
It
good
does.
or not, your ego has no place in your readings. Period.
Correct.
No place.
Because I feel so good when they're like, oh yes, you're correct, and I make my readings very light. I just want to help people. You know, it's never, it's not usually harsh at all.
Well, that's great. But
yes, you're absolutely correct.
Don't make your readings about feeding them what they want. If it makes them feel great, that's great. If it makes them feel bad, say, hey, come on, I'll get you a cup of coffee before you leave. Be nice to them. Give them a hug. Hey, don't feel bad. You know, I like to leave my readings on an up note. And I don't know if you work with cards or if you're a straight psychic or how you work. But if you get to something which is a downer, I throw that extra card to get back up again, because life is cyclical. Whatever comes back down goes back up again too. Okay?
Yes.
But don't give them pillows. Give them the real thing. Okay?
Okay, I understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Folks, I wish I could keep going with you, but we're over time. We had a couple of longer calls than we usually do, but I stayed with them because I really feel like they helped everyone who was on the seminar, the webinar this evening. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. I want to wish you a very, very happy Halloween, one of my most favorite holidays of the year because I get to wear my green hat. And don't forget, next Psychic Hour, November 18th. And please visit my website, www.sandyanastasi.com. So much going on. And don't forget, if you didn't get to ask a question, email me anytime within the next 24 hours until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And give me about a week to answer them, and I will get back to you. Take my love with you, and I'll see you all next month. Bye-bye.